Chapter?
Oh, I welcome you back, Wario.
I was in Japan for 3 weeks and came back on 2 days ago. I arrived in Chicago about 3 p.m. Then the gate was occupied by other plane. I was stuck there an hour and a half. And that meant I had to go through all the rush hour. So I arrived home around 10 p.m. So I'm a little bit jet lagged. And so forgive me if I doze off while they're talking. So, how many of you have been to Japan? Good, yeah. So, just to give you some idea on Japan, we have 127 million people, and the area is about 146,000 square miles. Now in Tokyo, the metro area, we have 13 million people within 845 square miles, and the density of population is 16,000 people per square mile. Now compare that to Tippecanoe, population in 183,000 in 489 square miles, and density is 346 people per square mile. So imagine that, over in this room, how many people will be fit here. Now, because it's so dense, we have very good train system. So from Tokyo, 6 bullet trains go north, south, and west. Within the Tokyo, we have 33 train lines, 13 subway lines, and 4 monorail lines. So that's 935 stations within the metro, and 2 stations every mile. And the busiest station handles 3.6 million people per day. So that's a lot. Now, bullet train, the most famous one covers from Tokyo to Osaka. That's from Indy to Cleveland, 320 miles, and takes about 2.5 hours. So it's pretty fast. And they handle 143 million passengers per year. So that's 16,000 people per hour. The train has 13,000 seats per train and 12 trains per hour. So that's a lot. And now I wrote 54 seconds. Do you know what that number means? Anyone guess?
How long a stop is?
No. That's the average delay of the train. And the record time was 18 seconds in 2004. So if you were told to ride on 2 o'clock train, just like Ray says, don't get on 1:55 or 2:05 because it's going to go to the different stations or different destinations. Our trip, we spent 8 days in Japan, and we arrived in Tokyo, went to Kyoto, Hiroshima, came back to Tokyo, and went to Sendai. Sendai is where the tsunami hit, and we had an incredible experience over there, but we can't really cover that today. We are hoping to have another program for that because it doesn't do justice to just cover 1 minute or 2 minutes. We covered 1,460 miles with this trip, and we met with 3 Kiwanis clubs, 2 Circle Ks, and 1 Key Club. So that's the overview, and I'll hand it to Diane. That's where we went.
All right, so I'm going to talk about the culinary experiences in Japan because I'm Italian and I was raised that food is very important. And so, and I literally didn't have any experience with Japanese cuisine before we left. So it's going more or less in order of our itinerary, and this is an example from our first night when we got to the hotel in downtown Tokyo. We went upstairs where they had a bar and lounge that overlooked the city, and it was about 10:30 at night. But it was exciting, so rather than going to bed, we went upstairs, and this is how the presentation was for their special of the season, which was a cherry blossom infused sake. And that's how it's presented on a lacquer tray, and the little teapot has the infused sake, and then they have the little cherry blossom presentation. So that was a good token to set the stage to how important the food is and the presentation of food there. So the next day, we picked up some strawberries and some other little things to sample in the fish market in Tokyo, and Taka did a good job of making sure we tried a little bit of everything, which was a lot of fun. So this is Chiara, who was here in the US and talked to us. She was working for the Japan American Society. I don't remember if you remember her presentation. So she was just sharing some strawberries with us that were absolutely delicious. And one thing you learn if you go someplace with Taka, I mean, he takes a picture literally every 30 seconds. So you have to be ready to chew with your mouth closed. So one of the first nights we ate in Tokyo in a ninja-themed restaurant. And this just shows a chopstick lesson by some of the Tokyo Club members to our members. And just so you think you don't eat just sushi in Japan, here's an example of what we had to eat that evening, which is basically steak and potatoes. So I think anyone would feel comfortable eating that. And dessert. Another example of presentation, and this is a little tiny cheesecake frog that was almost too cute to eat, but really no one had trouble eating it. And lots of, you'll notice that the servings are kind of small and bite-sized, so you try a variety of things in small bites. Another day we toured Tokyo with some members of Tokyo Club, and this is George Yoshida, a past president, and also one of the Circle K students from Musashino University. And we were eating a traditional sukiyaki meal, which involved thin pieces of beef that you then dip in a raw egg that's raised special for its cleanliness. That was really an interesting way to eat. Besides tea, they also have really good coffee in Japan, so you would maybe never guess that, so you don't have to give up that habit if you travel. And that, I don't remember exactly what that was, Nina, but it looked delicious. And yeah, it was as good as it looked. And this was a traditional tea that we had, again, with some of the members, and Ms. Shimmer, who's next to Taka on his left, she was the advisor for the Key Club of Zama University. No, Zama High School, sorry, big difference. And another evening we ate at this restaurant, I believe called Hibiki, which is in Tokyo, and you had, again, a beautiful skyline view in the evening. And the interesting aspect of this was that the tables were essentially recessed into the floor, so instead of sitting on a mat cross-legged under a low table, the table itself is recessed, and you sit on mats basically on the floor. This is the traditional way to serve sake, which would be until your cup runneth over, which was really interesting. And it literally, they pour it and it runs over into the small tray. Another day we were at Ashia, attending the Cherry Blossom Festival with the Ashia Club. And we just stopped in a little local restaurant and had, this is more casual kind of fare, like you might get in a restaurant in Lafayette. We're not in a big city anymore. And this is some kind of ground chicken or turkey in a sauce on a stick that was really delicious. In Kyoto, we had lunch at a very traditional tofu restaurant, and this is how they present the tofu at your table, and it's a boiled tofu, which is very specific to Kyoto. And I included this, not to embarrass Nina, but you know, if someone brings you a steaming bowl of you don't know what, you know, you might have that expression. Try. These are some more of the offerings from that restaurant. You can see everything is beautifully presented. And all right, I gotta get rolling. All right, here we go. This is a snack we had one night, which is a red bean soup that's actually sweet with the little dumplings made out of rice called mochi. That was delicious and something very different. On the bullet train one morning, we just grabbed some food in the train station, and the other cool thing that they had was coffee that was from a vending machine that was kept warm. That was really, really good quality. One evening we ate in the train station with at a restaurant that was owned and operated by a high school friend of Taka's. It's like his cool alter ego. It is. This is some sashimi from that restaurant. Again, everything's just beautifully done. In Sendai, which is up along the northeastern coast, we ate with members of the Sendai Club at this outdoor air market. Look how good Nina got with the chopsticks. She was a pro. And then our last day in Tokyo, where we were doing a little shopping, we had a dessert that was in honor of the Cherry Blossom Festival, which is a culinary and cultural theme for that whole period of time. That was fantastic. And then our final night, we ate at a tempura restaurant with Tokyo Club members who had us as their guests.
All right, very nice. Thank you.
I hate to tell you, but I'm not going to be as eloquent as Diane, you know? Because I just say what comes to my mind, unfortunately.
Amen.
Here we are, setting out at our adventure to Japan. This is taken in the airplane, and we prayed a lot. After we had dinner with the Kiwanis Club in Tokyo, we helped to make dolls, and there's our friend George showing us how it's done. Unfortunately, my dog didn't pass the. They said, you didn't fill it up in this corner, you didn't fill it up in this corner, sorry. But anyway, we had a good time. These are the men, the good-looking men that took us around in the rickshaw. And I'm telling you, these men had to be strong because they took us all over town. They would stop at different places of interest and actually tell us about the site. And they were just wonderful people. Okay, and we landed, we ended up in this area where there was a temple. And in the grounds of the temple, they had different things of interest. Here we see like a fountain, and you took that dipper and filled it up with water, put it in your palm of your hand, and then you'd sip it, and then squash the water in your mouth, and then spit it out on the bottom part of it. That meant cleansing of your soul. And while in Japan, you do what the Japanese do, so we did that. And who doesn't need cleansing of the soul? I know I do. So there we are. then we moved on to this place where they had smoke coming out of this urn. And what you do, you stand up close to the place and you fan that smoke towards you while you're praying. And again, that also is a cleansing of your soul and, you know, all that. So we did that with our friends. There was a wedding going on at that park, and I think these women were part of the wedding group. And of course, I had to have my picture taken with them. Beautiful women. There were so many flowers all over. Everywhere we went, it was like we hit the right season for all the different flowers that we went to. Here we were at this bamboo forest. It was an awesome scene. Those bamboo is like steel. I mean, I actually went up and touched one, and they were strong. I mean, I thought about a bamboo, you know, that you see here in the United States, like a little stick, hollow stick. That's no hollow stick, trust me. There were temples all over, and I was just intrigued with the many temples that we saw. I think there's over maybe 1,100 temples just in Tokyo. So everywhere you turn, there was a temple. And I just loved them. I just loved the way the little curly roofs, you know. Every one of them was unique in their own way. Here we have a shrine that's out in the ocean. And that's the entrance to, well, it didn't, to a temple that about 800 years old, and that was in Deer Park. And they have little deer, you know, mingling in with the people. And I think the deer represented
The messenger from the God, from the
messengers from the God.
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
So what a different life they have. Over there, they're the messenger from God. Over here, well.
So I'm a messenger from God, okay? So anyway, then we were there during the cherry festival, and everywhere you went, I mean, the tree, they have trees, not bushes, trees. And those blue tarps represent some of the people that work around the close buildings around that park. They come down early in the morning and they spread those tarps out to reserve them for all of them to come down and have lunch at noon. So you see all these tarps all over the place, and you wonder, what is it? And Taka said, well, they're going to have lunch together, and this is a way to reserve their spot under all the beautiful trees. So Taka took us to this high-end department store, needless to say. He really wanted us to spend our money there. So it was an awesome place. Every floor was designed for a different thing. Like this one was for hats and scarves. This one floor, and there was a hat there that they insisted that I try on, and of course I wasn't going to turn them down. I went ahead and posed for that. And that was it. And that's it, folks. Okay?
She's got notes.
Hit this one.
Taka said to bring our shirt, so I brought my shirt. So I obeyed one request. So you've heard what we ate, you've seen a little bit of where we went, and now I want to tell you a little bit about why this trip was so enjoyable. I wanted to be sure I knew where I was all the time, so I followed the map everywhere we went, all 1,565 miles of it. We landed knowing that someone was going to be there to pick us up. We could not have made this trip without Taka, I don't think. I mean, there's just not words to tell you how much fun he made for this trip. As Diana said, he made us test chew, swallow almost everything. I did get a pass on the raw egg. I could not put my beef in the raw egg. But other than that, I tried everything, even if it was looking at me. So we got there Thursday night. This is Friday noon. We went to the Tokyo Club, the Kiwanis Club of Tokyo, for their regular meeting. And I'm not even going to try to pronounce where it was. You wouldn't know if it were right or not, probably, and Taka would tell you that I had butchered everything. So Taka introduced us to everyone, and there were some things that we found that were in great contrast to this club. That club has 230 members. They have 3 paid staff. It's a business club, if you notice the attire. When you join, or at least when that club was formed and you joined, you had to have 2 sponsors. You actually went through a committee to see if you were going to be accepted. I told Dan, do you breathe? You're in a, so, you know, they do more than that in this club. You have to have a chauffeur because there's very little place to park. And you paid dues of $1,200 a year. So they have already noticed that they need more women and younger people in their club. So we have a lot in common there. Unless we missed it because we might have been a little late. We heard no silly songs. We didn't see or hear about happy dollars. And there was no Bill Buffington words of wisdom. However, the president of the club is a lady. Her name is Mrs. Tanazawa, and she really honored us. Oh, I keep forgetting I'm supposed to move this, aren't I? She wore a very special kimono. This is one with cherry blossoms all over it to celebrate the Cherry Blossom Festival. And I kept saying to Taka, oh, that's so beautiful, that's so beautiful, that's so... And he kept saying to me, Camilla, they're very expensive, they're very expensive. So I didn't bring one back. So the speaker there is to her right. He's a very young man, I thought. He's an accountant. And the program was about some creative accounting that some of the firms had done in Tokyo or in Japan, which basically told you why Westinghouse was in difficulty. At least I think that's what they were talking about. In the paper, the next day we saw it. After the meeting we saw Mr. Hoshi. Mr. Hoshi, who is the master of the doll project, one more. And he showed us how to sew them up. Then we were on the train where we went to a tea house and we met Michelle Skimmer, who is the advisor to the Key Club. It was spring break, no key clubbers. They were all on break. But we had a very delicious tea there. Then we went on to, the next day we met with Mr. Yoshikuma Kuni, the advisor of Kiwanis Circle K. And there is Kaho, Ken, and Shoma. And they are studying English, international relations, and economics at the university there. So they joined us on our trip to Skytree Tower and then on our surprise rickshaw ride. That was a lot of fun. You see the tower in the back, and that's their advisor. And I've already pronounced his name, Mr. Yoshi Kuni. Getting it? Okay, that was our group. On Sunday, we took the bullet train up to Kyoto and then took a local train to Ashiya, where we participated in the Cherry Blossom Festival, and that shows you how many people were. We were up high where the booths were, and then there was an embankment, and people walked along there, some members of the Ashiya Club. That's the Circle K kids, and the girl in the middle is their president. No, on the the far side is the president, and they have a sister club in the Philippines, and their main project is saving clothing and taking to the people in the Philippines. We gave them a few little gifts, and then they gave us a banner. And the next, we were invited to walk up and down the street and ask people to join the Ashia Kiwanis Club, which one woman says to me, yes, I'm very interested. So she knew all about it, and we hope that they made a new member there. The Kiwanis Club of Sendai, there's 9 members in that Circle K club and about 20-30 members in the Ashia club. It is a community club. It's not a business club like the Tokyo club. This is in Sendai, and that's the president, past trustee, and his wife, and we are overlooking where the tsunami hit. At the end of our trip, we exchanged gifts, and Diane was given a banner from the Sendai Club. Next. Our famous Kiwanian, we were really privileged to get to meet him. That is a 5-foot floral arrangement back there that took him 8 hours to put together. It has all the different varieties of cherry blossoms. And we got to attend an Ikebana, workshop. And we found out after our workshop that he was a former Kiwanian. So if we'd known that, we would have really gotten to him while we were there. So, as all good things,